Whenever you're building something and you are dedicated to your craft, you're putting time, effort into each and everything that you do, there's always going to be somebody that's got to say something. Okay, and you can take what they say for what it's worth. It can be surface level, it could actually be pretty deep, but the fact of the matter is you got to be careful taking advice from strangers sometimes. And this is even including myself. I tell everybody to take what I say with a grain of salt and to make your own decisions, because I want to create free thinkers. I want to be seeing more people that are capable of critical thought in the world. And the only way to do that is to give people the freedom to be who they are. Because love in of itself and truth in of itself is only true or only genuine when you can offer a sense of freedom to the other person. You can offer a sense of freedom to the receiver of whatever it is that you're giving. Because if you give something and then you're forcing somebody to do a certain thing because of what you've given, that's not really giving something, that's ordering somebody into manipulation. And that's what a lot of these people that have these different kinds of opinions out there are going to be doing. They want you to be ordered in a certain way that they deem to be acceptable. Meanwhile, you might look at their life and you might think to yourself, I don't really want to do anything with you. I don't really want to have anything to do with what you're got going on and what you have going for yourself, because in fact, you don't really have a lot going for yourself. But then there's going to be the people that you want to listen to that have the kind of life that you might desire, or you might see to be something that can really shape your life for the better. And you want that. You want to grow in that. But the problem is that sometimes even those kinds of people that you look up to and admire, they're going to be the ones that sometimes, here's what happens, what I've noticed when you get influence. When you start to have influence in the populace, and I'm not even a huge creator of some sort in the sense of numbers. Now, in the sense of quality, that's up for discussion, but in the realm of numbers and quantity, I'm not quite where I want to be just yet, but I'm still able to make a significant impact. Well, what exactly is that, and what does that mean? Well, it means that people are now going to come in when you have influence that are going to try to be friendly, are going to try to do certain things, all because they want to share a part in your momentum and your clout. And I've made that mistake once before, and I will not ever plan to make that same mistake again, because business decisions like this and entrepreneurship are really going to make or break you. Entrepreneurship is, by definition, very uncertain. There will be some times where I'm just, the stars are the destination. We are just going to the stars. And that's where we're always shooting, is for the stars. But sometimes you can barely feel like you're able to get off the ground. But that's going to be the moment when you really determine what kind of person you really are. If you're really wanting to build something that is going to be bigger than other people's opinions, then what you have to do is have the results speak louder than anything they could possibly say. Well, how do you do that? You have to stay consistent. You have to stay focused. You have to remember why you started in the first place. And especially in those dark moments, there was about a month ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks now, where, man, it was really starting to get to me. I was really starting to feel the heaviness and the weight of existence crashing down on me, right? And I was really starting to feel it, but nonetheless, I kept pushing forward. I kept moving forward. And now, ever since then, it's as if the significance of my steps that I'm making now are just leaps and bounds. It's compounding upon itself. God is blessing me with more insight and more understanding, more and more each and every day, of how to strategically move through the world and how to strategically activate certain ideas and how to really band together to move in a particular way that inspires courage, that inspires a sense of willingness to do whatever it takes, but to also not back down and not to disregard your principles along the way. I've had people offer me things that, partnerships along the way, where when I made those deals in the past and I learned from them, I knew that this was the same kind of stuff. The snakes will show when the grass is cut, okay? So when you're starting to cut certain things from your life, because that's something that you're going to need to do and learn how to do the more that you grow, it's almost more about how you can cut certain things to keep what you really need to have. Because what you want to really keep and what you need to keep are going to be two different things. And if you can always maintain an essence of needing to keep what you have with you, if you can keep everything that you need at all times and you have your life strategically set up to do so, it's going to be great for you. But if you have wants and needs mixed up, think about this, right? Let's say you have a pretty sporadic mind. Your mind is very sporadic and you're not centered. Well, what's going to happen with your decision making, do you think? Anybody? Yeah, your decision making is going to be sporadic. And I know this from experience, because there have been times in the past where I've thought that I've thought through everything. Now, this is why I encourage people to play chess. I know this is a strange thing, but I encourage people to play chess literally as part of their daily practice sometimes, because the reason for it is because you're actively making decisions to learn how to make decisions. And that's going to be really key for your life. It's not about, it's learning, it's not about just playing chess. That's not what it is. It's playing it, but playing it seriously, taking it seriously, but not too seriously. It's a dance, right? This is a dance. There was a meeting in the Regal Change Academy that we had yesterday in the Regal Assembly Call, and we were talking a little bit about dancing, and I mentioned The Mask of Zorro. Anybody that's never seen The Mask of Zorro, I highly recommend you see that. It's a beautiful movie, but pretty much a legendary movie, and with some corny parts, but also, a great story. And there's a point in which the characters are doing the tango, and I thought to myself, the other day, man, if they were doing this kind of stuff at the clubs, I would be there every weekend. But man, no, they're just shaking their butt. They're doing this. And those are going to be the loudest kinds of people too. The ones that are the most degenerate are going to have the most to say about what you're trying to build in this life. We also had somebody in the academy yesterday mention how people, because he's not being degenerate, people assume certain things about him. People assume these things. And, that's definitely something that you'll see often is when you're not participating in the degeneracy, people are going to make certain assumptions about you and have certain opinions about you that are going to absolutely not be true at all. And the kinds of things that people will come up with just to try to fit you into a box, that's what they want to do. They want to fit you into a box, because when you're unable to be fit into a box, they want to force you into it. That's why I said at the beginning of the video that freedom and truth and love, those are all they coexist with each other. Now, love does have conditions to some degree, but it's more about giving the choice to the other person. It's like holding out your hand openly, saying, this is what I have to give. You can take it or leave it. But if you take it, if you choose to take it, then there's these things that are going to happen. But you're giving the person the freedom to choose, and you're drawing boundaries otherwise. This is what's so important, and a lot of people have a really difficult time with as they level up. The more that you level up, the more that you're building things in your life that's going to outlast you, okay? Because that's what my goal is. I'm striving to build things that will outlast me. I'm striving to build things that will reach beyond me and go beyond this physical body. That's what I want to see happen. I want to see the Regal change isn't just a brand. It's a movement and it's a way of life. And I know that because that's the way that I came to Christ. The way that I came to Christ was by a regal change. I had to make regal changes in my life. And I even wrote a song called Regal Rhapsody. And that at the time when I started to follow Jesus, and the Regal Rhapsody song that I wrote at the time with my guitar there in the background, written a lot of good songs on that little, I don't know, do I want to say the name of the guitar? All right, I'll say the name of the guitar. Name of that guitar is the Black Stallion. I love the Black Stallion. The Black Stallions helped me a lot with writing these songs. But anyway, people that are going to be hyper opinionated about what you're doing, hyper opinionated about how you're living your life, if they don't have the kind of life that you think that, okay, there's something to learn from this person, just don't even, just nod your head, accept what they're saying, but don't really listen to it, because that's just noise. Okay, and I know that the more that you level up, sometimes the devil's going to try to really penetrate your mind. And just as I was talking about earlier, it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago where I genuinely felt like the stuff that I was putting out, the information that I was putting out was very encouraging and very heartfelt. And I was really striving to just give people the raw, honest truth, because that's what I always strive to do. But, I felt particularly at that time, I was like, man, I'm really feeling like there's a lot of good stuff here that I'm realizing as I'm speaking some of this stuff. And then the feedback, because I eat feedback for breakfast. I love feedback. I love feedback because it helps me understand and empathize with the people that I'm associating with. So the feedback, though, that I was getting, a lot of it was just hate. And I didn't know why, because it just seemed like it was just hate to hate. And I didn't understand why, but here's what I did. Here's how I understood what was happening. I just took it in and I just used it as fuel. I used it as fuel, and I used it to motivate me to continue going. And I guess I don't really say motivate because I don't believe in motivation, but it's more about inspiration. It's like, I know who I am, and no one is going to shake me from this. I am willing to be corrected. I have enough humility to be corrected. But what I'm not going to stand for is just ad hominem character assassination attempts. I don't need to listen to that kind of stuff. But if somebody has a genuine critique of yourself, that's fine. If there's a genuine critique where you can talk about ideas or talk about the way to behave in certain situations, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But what's not okay is to just attack people just to attack people. There's no point in that. And whoever has the time in their day to just spout platitudes of stupidity towards you, you don't need to listen to those people at all. Okay? And then the people that give you some advice sometimes, ooh man, I just thought about this. Sometimes the people that try to give you advice are going to try to give you advice to steer you in the wrong direction. I don't want to see that happen to anybody. This is why I say take everything as far as advice from people with a grain of salt. Look at their life, look at how their actions are, look at what is happening with them, make the decision to go from there. Because otherwise, people are going to take advantage of your willingness to learn, and they'll twist it around. When you really encounter full-on malevolence, it takes on a new shape for you in how you view life. When you encounter true malevolence that wants to completely disrupt your character and your way of being, simply because you know who you are, but you also know what you don't know, and you're willing to learn, some people will see that. It's kind of like the fox in Pinocchio. Pinocchio is this naive, sort of a boy, but naive puppet, right? He's not yet a boy. He's this naive puppet, which is a very symbolic gesture in of itself, but he's a naive puppet that looks to the fox for this information, and the fox gives them all these sweet nothings and everything like that, and gives them all these promises and whatever. And he doesn't listen to his dad. The naive puppet doesn't listen to his dad. But then he leaves, and the dad has to be saved now. And that's when Pinocchio is able to become a real boy, is when he saves the father. This is exactly what you need to do with your life. If you cannot lead your inner child to greatness, good luck. Good luck out there, man. And I know this because even yesterday I was doing some self-reflection because I had a little bit of time to ponder and self-reflect, and I was sitting on the bench as it was raining outside. And I don't know, I like the rain. I don't mind being in the rain, but it was raining outside, and so I went outside and I was sitting on the bench, and I was just looking at the beautiful mountains that reminded me of Lord of the Rings, you know, and just looking at everything, and I thought about, man, sometimes I don't, it's not like I wish I could go back to being a kid, but man, I remember what it was like to be a kid, and to just, it was almost as if I allowed the inner child in that moment to be fully present, and I completely viewed the world as a child again. And I do this every now and again to just kind of set back and create that sense of wonder and have that generosity of spirit and love, and just loving the universe and seeing the awe-inspiring qualities of it. But then, there are times where I have to be the father to that inner child, right? I have to make sure that I'm staying disciplined. I have to make sure that I'm building what I need to build. I need to do what I need to do because I'm an adult also. I still have duties and obligations and responsibilities, and that's where my meaning comes from. So I have these things that I'm doing. I have these things that I'm looking at and watching. And so I'm looking out and I'm just reminiscing for a moment what it was like to be a kid. And, in a sense, I remember just how lonely that kid felt. I remember how lonely that kid felt, and how he was lonely because he thought that nobody understood him. But really, in hindsight now, it was that he didn't understand himself at the very bottom level. It was definitely the case that I wasn't surrounded by the best people growing up, but it was definitely me not being able to understand myself. And a lot of that was due to generational curses and all that, but also it was just my reluctance to really accept my emotions. And so now, being able to accept my emotions, even with all of the hate and stuff, and being able to accept it, but not letting it get to me, and just continue forward anyway. Discipline will get you where you need to go. Emotions will not. It's as simple as that. So don't listen to the opinions of others, because they're going to try to sway your emotions, okay? If they're trying to break you, they're going to try to use your emotions against you. They're going to try to get a reaction. All right, but you're not doing that. You're building something more. You're creating something more. So with that being said, I do appreciate everybody tuning in to this video. I do want to announce, and this will go quick. So just to give you guys an update, there's somebody in the Regal Change Academy that earned a free one-on-one mentorship call with me. And he wants to generously donate this call to somebody out there that may not have the financial means to book a call, but wants the call. And a call is generally $70 with me for one-on-one. And that's for an hour. And, we'll create a plan for your psychological, spiritual, emotional, physical, financial action plan for you. And, there's other things that people talk about that want to talk about. We talk about whatever you need to talk about. But if you're one of those kinds of people that are looking for some extra help, but you may not have the funds right now, take advantage of this opportunity. Send me an email or a DM from the link in the description box below. I also have a few questions to ask and that I want you to answer before we schedule this. Is why do you want to grow? And what are the obstacles in your way right now? And what is something in your life that is significant that made you a better person, okay? Because now I'll be able to understand that this is somebody that truly wants to be invested. This is somebody that truly wants the help, okay? So with that being said, also, if you want to join the Regal Change Academy, there's the link in the description box below for the paid community. I also have a free Telegram subscription channel that you can look at where the messages auto delete after 24 hours. So all of the insights that you'll get there will auto delete. And I appreciate everybody moving from the YouTube platform over to X, Rumble, and Instagram. I appreciate your guys' extra support. And with all that being said, peace be with you all. Until next time.